Hey, I got some exciting new news as well. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I've got a new pom pom. We're now pink and blue. Woo-hoo.
Gee,
I,
we're
I,
we're stepping up our game.
you know what? I was pom pom challenged, and we we rented a dumpster. We did every few years because people say they clean up and they don't, or they say
Right.
they move out and they don't. So every couple years we get a dumpster. And when me and Gemma, who is a warrior cleaner, when we were cleaning the playroom, which is ironic because why do I have a playroom when I don't have any kids that live here? But
Huh.
anyways, I regress. We found the other pom pom and it was all smushed to heck.
Oh,
So
that's
Gemma
funny.
and I went to the Dollar Tree. We made a well spent $1.25 investment, and now I have three pom poms, one blue, two pinks. Pretty
There
happy
you go.
with that.
You
Yeah,
need to have a bit of the blue and a bit of the pink kind of come together and
you
be
know
blink
that right? Exactly. Or blue.
or blue.
That's
Blue
right.
would be good. That would be
Great
good.
to be
So
back. We missed everybody last week. Hey, and we're matching. We're wearing the white shirts. Couple of white
I
shirts.
I just I didn't even pick up my iced coffee on the way here from Timmy, so I'm but I got water, so I'm good. But
Okay,
yeah, I had a crazy day. We're live, right?
we are.
Well, hello, and I can't see anything because my phone, I only am in this meeting. I can't see anything on messaging and all that, so I'm leaving all that to you.
Oh, good times.
Yeah. But hi, everybody. If you're live with us or if you're watching later, as you can tell, I am out. I'm not at home. I was able to get home and put some comfortable shorts and t-shirt on
Nice.
because I've been stuck in traffic coming back from Vancouver for almost 5 hours.
Oh, gross.
And I had flashbacks of the 401
I bet.
back when I know it's still horrible, but back like 1,000 years ago when it was horrible and it wasn't big.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's hard to you everybody's in a hurry and people like just people are more agitated. So for me, I try to cool it down. I got rerouted 3 times by my navigator,
Oh,
and each time was worse because there was a big 2 truck accident that took out one of the main arteries of the highway. So everybody goes to the other one, and then everybody's there. And then there's another accident there. So, anyways, it was horrible. My office, it takes me about an hour 15 to get there, and it took me 3 hours to get there.
wow. How
Yeah.
does that affect your mindset?
Well, that's why for those watching, I showed Michelle earlier. I'll try to do a quick little panorama. So
What?
if you can see, the sun's not blinding you. So I'm in this beautiful place, 20 minutes from where I live. This is my second office, and it's called Shem Wetland. And so, um, no matter what kind of days I have, I come here 2 or 3 times, and it's really hot right now. It's like 36, but it's peaceful. You hear the birds. There's one vehicle here besides mine, which is great, and it's just so beautiful. So it's so peaceful compared to the highway.
Right. Great way to detox from chaos.
Yeah, and we need to do that. I've been in the last few days. I've been in so many meetings like you, Michelle, and I've been um, so many like national meetings with the company I work for. Um, when I do counseling, I actually try to do, which my wife says like you're wasting gas, but I don't care. I try to do if I'm doing any phone counseling, I try to do it driving in the car because I'm just a lot of times stuck at home or at my office. I drive a lot too, but yeah. So, anyways, I've just had today's Wednesday, 3 days of like driving in horrible traffic or just at home for 8 hours in meetings, which is too
Mm.
much.
I don't know which is worse. A of the two.
It depends, right? Like part of it is that whole thing we talked about, like we're always talking about wellness. So it's really your wellness check-in, right? So if you're not like we are reactionary by most of us by nature. And so part of it is how do you, in a place that just lends itself to so much stress and frustration,
That's right.
and you could be frustrated, but how do you not let the negativity of that take over you, right? So it was funny, Michelle, when we start going here, I had a talk with our brother Tim. I say younger brother. He's younger than me, but he's not the youngest.
Much
And
older than I.
he's older than you, way older. He's in his 60s. Anyways, he's and so our brother, I think 3 or 4 years ago, had stage 4 lung cancer, right?
Right.
And did everything and whatever. And he's an interesting bird. He he will never be on here because he's Facebook and social media is like evil to him. So it's whatever. So I can talk about him all I want. But anyways, yeah, he's taken everything they can't do. They won't can't do operate anymore because it's just not an option. So he's keeping busy, taking care of himself. He's kind of retired, forced retirement.
Yep.
But yeah, he's doing good. But I know he had I just knew from before through a conversation that he said that he had some education in what we're talking about tonight with nature and nurturing. So he talked about, we called it the G note. He talked about kind of our
Uh-oh. You froze. Well, this could be interesting. So Tom's frozen outside. Uh, hmm. Let's see. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know if he'll have to get all the way out. He might still be talking. I am not really entirely sure. I'm going to message him and let him know uh, that, oh, and then he's gone. Okay, I have faith that he's gonna come back. So, oh no, he is still okay. Hold on, here he comes. Maybe. Let's see. All right. So anybody just joining us? Hi, Sue. I see you. And Tom was here. Now he's gone. He is outside. Oh, here he comes, which is always interesting when you're trying to connect in the elements. So I see you, Tom. Welcome back. Your face was a classic pose. Your
I
mouth
love it.
was open just enough that if I was good at photoshopping, I could have had some fun. But lucky
Well,
for you, I am not.
you're allowed to. Well, let me tell you the funny thing. You know what happened? And I realized it because I can't see. I'm gonna have to go into the car because it's so hot out here. The back of my phone got so
Oh,
hot that it triggers something. I remember this from before, anyways. So I'm gonna go in my air conditioned car, turn it on, and be quiet.
you're gonna be
And
quiet.
yeah, maybe we'll see. So, anyways, go ahead. You start talking. I'll carry you guys to the car.
All right, I hope we're not too heavy. So everybody who's joining us, I see Alana's with us. Oh, hold on. Where's my romper room ring? Hold on, everybody. I think Tom's never seen this. Okay. Romper, bumper, stomper, boo. Tell me, do. Magic mirror, tell me today. Have all my friends had fun at play? I see Lisa. I'm sending her so much love. I see Alan. I'm hugging her with my heart. I see Sue is with us. Isn't this the greatest thing? One of my members made this for me. Yeah, it is a racket from some store, probably the same one I get my pom poms at. And when I was welcoming guests to Zoom workshops, she made that for me so I could literally do that. If you don't, oh, and he's gone. If you don't know the romper room, then private message me. I'll send you a clip if you're traumatized from the romper room, because Miss whatever her name is never said your name, well then I'm going to give you a big hug, and the struggle is real. I have a very dear friend. Oh, I'm glad, Alan. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm responding to, please read the read the chat. Life is too short not to laugh. I have a friend, Roy. We've been friends, oh my gosh, my daughter's 30. We've been friends for 30 years. And he used to always joke about how the trauma he goes through because Miss whatever her name was did not ever say his name. I don't remember her saying my name either, but I clearly was from a different mindset that I didn't give two poops. So, Tom, welcome back. Look at you.
Again. So the funny thing is, I was saying this earlier, and I don't know if I got through cut off. So my phone, I have a not newer, but not like I don't need the brand new phones, but just with the workout. Well, this is my personal phone, and it's a Pixel Pro 7. So it's a really good phone, takes great pictures. I had a I couldn't see, but when I got to my car, there was a thermostat that popped up and says your phone is too hot.
Oh, snap. Wow.
Yeah.
Technology.
So I'm in the car. So what we're gonna do, so it wasn't the carrier I have is great, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be upfront and honest. We'll talk while in the car. I am actually gonna get a nice coffee from Timmy's as we're talking.
Do it.
That's so Canadian, right?
Well, let's all put in our order. I would remember Tom's buying everybody. Lisa, what can he get you? Sue, let's go big or stay home. Alan, right? We'd like a little bit of everything. So, Tom, at some point you'll have to rewind and watch the beginning of the video, see what you missed. Because
you were making fun of me?
Yeah, I was talking smack about you all day long.
Love it.
You know, might as well tune in. Exactly right. So we have Lisa and Sue with us. Oh, Elaine says, I love that. It's Tim Hortons Camp Day.
Oh, I never thought about that. That's a good idea. Thanks. I will.
Yeah, I love that.
I haven't been to Tim Hortons today. I kind of, even though I work for a coffee company and at home I have like a really nice latte I make every morning. I'll share some pictures because that's what I do. And but Tim Hortons drive-through is quicker, and I just have a dark roast with some cream, and I'm happy.
Lisa says she'd like something with real Baileys, please. Lisa,
okay,
19.
Lisa, I'll be out there. I'll drive straight out there. It'll take me a couple of weeks, but the Baileys will be in your drink.
That's very good. Very good. I love that. Well, here's a fun fact. So my oldest child, Alec, he went to Tim Hortons camp. You have to be referred to go. It's not an easy process, but I was going through a very dysfunctional split up. He was referred, and it was a life-changing event for him. He went, a big Tim Hortons bus came and picked him up, had donuts on the side. It's a big coach bus, came and picked him up. I'm in Sarnia, Ontario. It took him all the way. I think his camp was in Quebec. You had to be like, I think you financially and dysfunctionally had to qualify. We checked all the boxes, but you
go.
Things to be proud of, but you couldn't be like somebody that would take extra care. Do you know what I mean? Like, so no,
like me and
you. We never would have made it, that's for sure. But he came back. He was like such an introvert, and he'd been through, I don't think he would care if I told you he'd been through like play therapy as a kid to help him deal with some dark things that have been whispered in his ear, if you will. So he was very much an introvert, and he came back and it really changed him. And one of the things that's really super cool, Lisa says, thanks, Tom. One of the things that's really super cool, and I don't know, but I imagine we still have it. I hope nobody threw it out in that big dumpster haul. But anyways, he got a proper hardcover book of the whole camp experience. So it had, it was really awesome. And he wasn't interested in it at the time, because it was like all the kids that go are all one age, and they rotate, like, or they used to. One summer was girls, one was boys. So he was the right age. Robert, 3 years different, was a little disappointed he never got to go. But that book, it was such an amazing thing, because, and I think it had in there like any milestones they did. I was just so impressed. So as much as I don't go to Tim Hortons very often, I try to I make coffee at home, I guess, for the most part, and I work at home, so why would I leave to go get coffee? But on camp day, I will go, I will support it. I'll throw all my change in, the bucket or however they're collecting. So it's
There
definitely a
you
great
go.
thing. Yeah, great thing to
That's good.
support. Yeah, absolutely. Very good.
So
So
for
you
so
talk,
for me, I was going to say quick camp story. So for me, so like we've said, me and Michelle weren't raised together. So I was born in Ottawa, so lived in the city of Ottawa. Then we moved to Belleville, Trenton. Not very long. That was a hard place. And then I did like my school years in Toronto and then Scarborough. So this is true. I'm not even joking. Uh, I never saw a cow until I was maybe 13. So when I saw ground beef in the store, I didn't know it came from a cow. No idea. Now I'm
wow,
smart, but I just didn't meet animals, right? Deprived city boy, poor city boy, but deprived. So I got, and I don't know where, Michelle, it wasn't Timmy's, but it was some camp thing when
yeah.
me and Tammy and Tim were living with mom in Mornell Court or whatever in Scarborough. And I don't know, I don't remember, I don't think it was church. I don't know. I wasn't a church guy back, but so whatever it was, I remember going and we went to Algonquin Park. You know where that is?
Oh yeah, 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 love it.
Okay, so I've never been outside, right? So what we
Right.
did, it was 5 days. We portage, which we were in canoes and we had to carry them through the woods.
But
I'm a little skinny runt. I have no idea what's going on. Then at night we were one place and all we could hear is like 10,000 bullfrogs. And it's just the weirdest experience for me. Like I've seen trees. I know what like vegetation is. Never gone camping, never been in a tent. So my experience wasn't as good as Robert's, but it was eye opening. So
right,
anyway.
right. That is so funny. Okay, so two different things. Number one, not surprised. When I reconnected with the family, I was 19, or maybe I had just turned 20. I remember Alec was a baby and I had him right after I turned 19. So I was living in Kitchener, Ontario. Our sister, Tammy, was living in Toronto and she had no idea where Kitchener was. And that really blew me away. But demute us? We want Timbits. Start yelling your order. Oh, you can't yell your order. Oh my gosh. Put Bailey's in that. He mutes us. How rude.
I muted you.
Ah, you're no fun. Come on.
I might point the camera to them and freak them out.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
them we're on I'm on a live show. Just I'm going to give them a tip for the. Actually, my
Good.
coffee pays. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? So we talk about this now. So I'm going to do this. So you guys are going to be a part of this. I'm going to pay for whoever's behind me, whatever they order.
Good. Oh, I love
Hopefully,
it.
hopefully it's $5. But if it's more, then I need to suck it up and
Yeah.
get a part-time job.
Make it church bus.
Yeah, there you go. But anyways, yeah. Have you gone camping and stuff like that?
No, it's funny. My brothers were older than I. Well, actually, I went to Brownie and Guide Camp, but my family, because see, my parents adopted me when they were in their mid 30s, and they already had two homegrown children, one 5 years older, one 7 years older. So whenever I wanted to do something, this isn't knocking, like it is what it is. They'd already done that with the boys. They weren't interested in doing that with me. So we cottaged, but we didn't camp. And it's funny when you say about not experiencing things, I never went on a toboggan in my life till I was well into my 20s because my parents they weren't doing that. You're just going to sit down and look good and behave yourself. So that's what I spent a lot of time doing. But I have to regress for a minute. So I'm a little confused. I just want some clarity. So you were born in Ottawa. Tammy was born in Ottawa. No idea about Tim. And then it goes Tina, I think she was born in Belleville. And then Roxanne, I'm not sure. But then I was born in Ottawa. Now, where did we loop? How did we loop back to Ottawa? Or was she traveling through and went, oh, look, a baby fell out? Just asking.
No idea. No idea.
Okay.
So I'm next to the window, just so you can see I'm going to be interrupting us.
Oh, that's
But
fine.
yeah, no problem.
That's
So
no
you
problem.
guys can be a part of this. It'll be great.
That's good.
Hi there.
Hello, thank you for
Iced coffee?
yeah.
And I want to pay for the person behind me. Yeah. So there's inside Timmy's, guys. See what's going on.
7:29.
I'm doing a live show in Ontario. We're doing a live show and we're doing about kindness. You guys are doing a great job. So thank you.
Hello, thank you.
Yep. She says hello, everybody.
Hello.
All right, thank you for your support.
Iced coffee?
Oh, yes, yes.
Sorry. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, what did you spend? What was the total?
Oh, sorry. This young girl was going to wash my car, my windows, and I drove past her.
What?
So I
They
feel
do
for
that?
$3. They're doing windshield
Oh.
washing for $3. I don't have $3 on me.
Well, that's
Or you know what?
a good deed. Don't
Oh,
feel
you
bad.
know what? Oh no, I do. Can I go backwards? I
Hey,
can't.
shut your sunroof.
No, we're good. I'm gonna go back this way,
Oh, you're so good.
not
Thank
hit
you.
anything. Well, I'm gonna give him $3.
That's
I'm gonna
great.
let her know. So go ahead. Yeah, I'll tell her I'll give her $3. I got $3 for you.
All right. And you're gonna let her wash your car?
I passed you and I had to come back. $3? Okay, there you go.
I'll steal that from you.
Perfect. You do my windows?
I'll just windshield that fine.
That's perfect. Thank you so
All
much.
right, I'll put mine in the ground. I'll try to remember it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Too hot
that's
out here.
Awesome.
Whoops,
I
sorry.
love that. Hi, Kathy.
It's sensitive.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's so awesome. Hey, Kathy, we're on tour in British
Yeah.
Columbia with my brother. Yep. We just he just paid for the car behind him, and now he paid somebody $3. I have never seen that here in Ontario. If anybody
Yeah,
else has, please share.
I'll show her if she lets me, but I'm doing a
Okay.
live video in Ontario. Me and my sister do a live video in Ontario. So I told her what we're doing. So this young lady's washing my car. That's it. They didn't know what I was doing. So
Did you tell her the car's stolen?
no, I didn't tell her that yet. Anyways, yeah, they're doing so what they're doing, I have never seen this before, but they had a sign in drive-through where $3 for for washing your windshield, not your car, your windshield.
Well, I love that. That's a great idea. And
Yep.
as far as giving and getting, it's reciprocal. That's very good.
Yep.
I love that.
Did you ask how much was the person behind me?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so it was good. It was like $7.
Wait, including yours?
No, mine was $3. So
Okay, so
and he's
$10.
and he's right beside me now. Like I'm faced the wrong way, but he's gonna get his windshield wiped. So see, you pay it forward. People
Yeah.
respond. It's good, right?
Goes full circle. I love
Yeah.
that. So before you had technical.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm good now. I'm done being kind.
Okay, you got all out of your system. You feel good?
Yeah, the person who's getting their windshield wash is waving at me, thanking me. And
Oh,
it's two people in there. So before we talk about nature and nurture,
Yeah.
the funny thing is, so me and Michelle talk lots about positive thinking, kind of the nature, kind of the nurturing component of it, and being, creating the habit of being kind. And it could be a smile. Michelle went hug, a kind word to a cashier. Things are tough already. For me, I'm not rich. I'm a normal working class person, but to me, that money cost for me is, I would do that if I could all day long, because
Oh, me too.
we're changing the world, right? And you have to do within your means. And sometimes if we're working through difficulties for mental health, and so, my daughter has my granddaughter suffer with depression and social anxiety. So what we think is easy, like, oh, just go outside, come on, it's all good. It's very, very difficult. That's why, Michelle, I bought a house up north for my daughter in northern Alberta. So little town, way better. It's helping her, both of them, right?
Yeah.
But so I can't push somebody like that, or I wouldn't, but I do encourage her about like fresh air. I do. Both of them are so wonderful. They're kind and nice. Michelle's met them. And but there's like when we help people, I don't know, it changes me anyways.
It does, actually. Yeah, and science proves it. It's actually threefold. So you've affected, well, in this scenario, it's such a great scenario. So, and one of the things I love about it, it was totally spontaneous. But
Yeah.
you've affected your own energy. You feel good. There's that dopamine. You've affected the teller because she participated in it. You affected the two people behind you. You just bought their coffee or tea or whatever for. And then everybody that is watching the video now with us, plus me, of course. And then anybody that watches this a week from now, a month from now, because they stay on Facebook forever, but we also transfer them over to YouTube. So think about when you think about a puddle and those little drops, they seem so insignificant, but once they start making those rings and expanding, they touch so many people. And you're exactly right. You know, when I think about that $7, I mean, it's $7 that I could easily buy on a supersized bag of chips and a pop. I could spend that on, you know, a whole bunch of things that don't serve me well, where look at all the good things that you just did and unplanned and not for glory. Like you know, the way that it played out, because you did it on the video, that's, you know, a bit of an isolated incident. I think you're the same as me. I don't, that's actually one of my pet peeves. When I see people and they just do things, but it's for personal gain or for likes and
Yeah.
shares or to boost up their YouTube page. That's not true and sincere in my mind.
Yeah, it's not authentic, right? And the funny
Right.
thing is, the only reason I saw the car behind me and the guy waved because when I backed up, and I don't know what you could see through the camera there, but I was at an exit going into the road, coming on the road I'm on now. And so there's nobody behind me. So I was able to back up and I pulled into a parking slot right next to the drive-through going one way. So the
Right.
guy was there. I do not wait for thank yous. I think
Oh,
it's a waste of time. But I spent $10. I had $3.
correct.
All of that money. So talk about paying it forward. All of that money, every dollar they make today, I believe, goes towards camp.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So,
so this idea of compounding. See, the funny thing is when we start talking a bit about the nature and nurture thing, right?
yeah.
You can your DNA or your the way you're biologically created, right? I was having a talk with somebody. We're talking about fetal alcoholism syndrome and Down syndrome. These things, right? That's a nature component of who you are. But in it, we have the ability, if we believe and have faith, that we can overcome so many things. That was why that movie I told you, Peanut Butter Falcon, a long time ago, is such a good movie because here's this young kid with Down syndrome that wants to be a
Right.
pro wrestler, right?
Right.
And somebody says, "Hey, I'll take you to where they do the training." Right? That's kind of the gist of the movie. I hope I didn't ruin it. But yeah, and I think and I'm not saying this for me, just so everybody knows. If I could do one thing here, and I think you'd be on board with Michelle. If we look back in a year and we were kind of just doing a recap and getting you guys involved a little bit more, which is what we want to do, by the way, hint, hint. If we can encourage and influence to get out of our the zones we're in, I would say comfort zones, because here's the thing, every one of us can probably say, I don't even have enough for myself, by the way. I don't
Yeah.
like I have $10, but that $10 is coming from somewhere. I got a budget, right? And I got responsibilities, right?
Right.
But that investment, just like for me, the investment going to the gym, which I hated my whole life except for the last couple of years. I still have to push myself sometimes, but I need to have that investment because the return on that investment for me physically is my physical health, which affects me mentally. Paying it forward, showing a little bit of kindness, saying hi, it doesn't but I'm going to tell you, if you don't step out of your comfort zone, then you're just gonna stay in that place. Once you learn to step out, like Michelle and Nicole going across Canada, that was huge and scary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I think money is an energy, right? So it's um so when you're giving, you're opening yourself up to receive, right? You're not like even the mindset of living in lack. Like I have to hold on to the $7 because I don't know, you know, whatever, like, and then you have those fearful emotions and everything is all tied in together. When you feel fearful, you're tense, it creates inflammation, then you don't feel good, anxiety, depression, it's all tied in together. So everything
Yep.
that is tied in, it's funny, me and Alice, so Alice is my oldest granddaughter, she is going to be 10 in December, and I know, right, where does the time go? So she watches a lot of crap. I'm just going to say that. She watches a lot of crap. So when she's with, that's in my opinion, but it legit is crap. Anyway, anyways, so we've been watching The Secret Millionaire when she comes. Have you ever watched that show?
Years ago, I remember watching it.
Yep. So welcome to my world, right? Everything's a rerun. So we were watching that and it just warms my heart. It really chokes me up when I see them, the giving and the realizing, because quite often we get, and I think we're seeing a lot of that right now, we're not all super financially stable, but we're in our comfort zone where we have, we're living our program. We're driving the same way to work every day. We're doing the same thing. We're eating the same cereal, whatever. And a lot of times it takes a little bit of effort to just open, unless it's right in your face, to open up and see what else is going on in the world. And I personally do not believe in coincidences. So I believe that was the
That's
right
a that's a coincidence.
So I think the right people were behind you and the cycle continues. I have to say, since I've started doing that, and I mean, I've probably been doing it 10 years now at least, but I get people buy for me not all the time, because I don't go all the time, but more, I feel more than my fair share, like that it just comes back. So, and quite often when I end up in that loop, where the person in front has bought for me, then I pay it forward. I remember one time being at Tim Hortons, and the lady said it had gone on for well over an hour of
Yeah.
everybody buying for the person behind. That is incredible.
Yeah. And I think, and I'll switch it like we're talking about nature and nurture, because this, what we're talking about is really in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I might have shared this story before. The funniest thing, so I don't, I shared a video about the homeless guy that me and my friend Miles went and gave a jacket, and I don't know what we did. So
Right.
we recorded it on here at the beginning, like in February, right? So I don't do that all the time, just being honest. I
Yeah.
have different things, but all I know is that, like you said, Michelle, the energy, when I choose to be, I'm going to give you a hilarious story, choose to be, take away the negativity. When you do something kind for somebody, it's hard, not saying it can happen, to be negative. Because if you're negative, if you're questioning what I don't have a dollar that, you're not 99%, you're not going to give it, right? So
Right.
two quick stories. One is old, one's new. Years and years ago, I'm at Save on Food, so whatever it is, whatever it is, be back there, like Safeway, whatever it is, right? And behind me is this older Dutch man, big, tall Dutch man in his overalls, whatever. And he's got a bottle of club soda. I don't think he was making, spirited drinks. Um, he had one liter, right? So I told the cashier, I said, I'll pay, just put him on, I'll pay for it, right? And he goes, no, no, no. He goes, I worked my whole life. You don't have to pay for it. And blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, 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 it doesn't matter, right? So I paid for it. He's behind me. He's got his bottle. Now he's walking through the parking lot with me, telling me how tough it was and how, you have to earn everything you had. And he was old style Dutch, right?
Sure.
And, but he still took it. And I remember saying this in different things that I do sometimes. I said, I bet you anything, because the type of guy he was, he went home, he goes, he probably went home, told his wife, and then told his kids and probably his grandkids and said, I was there, but not the way we would do it. He goes, oh, I was there, and this guy paid for this, but I told him I work for this. I've got money. You don't have to do that. He would have went on to defend his honor type of thing, right? But it didn't matter, right? So, so I'm gonna switch something. I'm gonna apologize now if it's triggering. I'm gonna set this up. So I'm gonna talk quick, just 2 seconds about politics. I'm not going one way or the other, so bear with me. If don't bug Michelle about it, message me if there's an issue. So I'm smart. I understand politics. I understand the effects on the world. We all have our views and what we think, who's good, who's bad, what parties and all that, right? So I was watching the Republican thing, and I just happened to put it on yesterday. I had a busy day in that. And I know there could be propaganda and all this stuff. So please, like I understand that. Like I want you, don't be negative with this. They for like 4 people in a row, and I know like I know why they're doing it. I'm in sales, right? But they had people come up that shared personal stories, people that lost their kid to fentanyl, people that different things. And so I'm emotional, and by myself, I'm a grown ass man, and I'm like, I'm not weeping, but I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
I tear up, like Pay It Forward. There's these movies. I watch them on purpose. I need to tear up as a man.
Yeah.
I need, so regardless if propaganda and blah, 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 right? I believe these people are genuine. I believe, but they're there for a purpose to tell them how good they are, right? But I have compassion, and like when people lose people, especially to addiction, like, because that's the world I worked in for a long time with, like my heart is touched. And so the reason I was saying that is with our nature, like the way we're biologically designed, and it would probably be hard, but if we want to go back, like me and Michelle talk about our lives and the way we were raised, but if we were to go like when we were younger, part of our nature, who we are biologically, the way our brain, like different things, is I believe, you can challenge me, hugely affected by our nurturing.
Oh, absolutely.
And so the good news with that should give us hope. Like I was raised not to cry. I got smacked if I cried. I wasn't a man. And I wasn't very emotional. I wasn't talkative like I am now too. I had all these words saved up for like 40 years.
Right.
But there's something about, you feel all of a sudden this freedom. You mentioned it. Like there's something, like you do get a benefit from it, but you're not doing it for the benefit. You're doing it to be good, be kind, to change. Like, and we're not even thinking about changing the world. Just saying, hey, I'm going to do this, right? And that nurturing is so important. Nurturing our well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally. That's what the show's about, right? But it's so interesting how even a lot of us have had probably challenging childhoods, or even challenging now with depression or some different things going on. And we have to be truthful what it is, but we have the ability, one small step, to change that. We change the trajectory, right? We're able to just a little bit, like we mentioned 2 weeks ago, take a minute in the morning or whenever and just de-stress, zone out, reset. Don't think about anything. Don't think about your day. Just be in that moment. Think of your breathing, think of your body, right? Absolutely. When we do these little things, they sound so, like I have somebody who watches on YouTube, a guy, that's just, so he's English, by the way. He goes, that's so droll. I'm going, droll? That sounds like you're from the 20s. What's droll mean? Is that like, I was thinking Dole, the pineapple. But it's interesting, once you kind of allow yourself to change, it doesn't just affect you, it affects your kids and your family, and they see it in you and people around you, right? So the nurturing is so important, in my opinion. So there you go.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, there's 1,000 things we could talk about. Is it nature? Is it nurture? We could analyze it to death. We're not going to sit here for the next 3 or 4 days breaking it down. But I think identifying it as what the root is, I mean, just acknowledging something is the beginning of change, first of all. I think the other thing that's very important is simply the fact that we can be human excuse factories. So if we can
Yeah.
blame it on nature, then that lets me off the hook, right? Instead of realizing, and see, I find it so fascinating with our siblings. And I'm going to go back to that in a minute. But like when we all met, so just for everybody who's maybe you're new or whatever, so we've had 2 reunions in 56 years of my life. We've had we met in when was the first time we met? In Sun Peaks.
I was just going to tease you. I was going to say that you know of. No, I'm joking. I'm teasing you. I don't know. I saw pictures from that.
2001.
Has it been like 20 some years?
I think so. I think the first time, so we all, our mom, so we share a mom, and then the father's is a non whatever of the story. So we're just really focused on the mom. So because there's some variations. Anyways, whatever. So she rented a beautiful chalet. Because I was still in college, so I think it was in 2001. We all got together for the very first time. It's the first time I met Roxanne and Tim. I think I'd met everybody else. And then we reconnected, all of us except for the youngest one, Jimmy. So we all reconnected in 2015. And then we all reconnected a year ago, last May, all of us. But as we were all reconnecting, so the I'm gonna say the top three, but it's just an age, not in awesomeness, because we're all awesome.
No, it's awesome. Awesomeness. Come on.
Yeah, and so the top three stayed with our biological mom, but then the other four, we all were adopted into nuclear families with a mom and a dad, right? So it was very different. And so the whole thing, as somebody who, as a wellness coach, we study behaviors. So as somebody that focuses on that, I've always found it so fascinating, the things that are so similar. For example, names that we all like. So here's a fun fact. I don't know if you know this, but when I was pregnant with Alec, so I got pregnant at 18, I had him at 19. That's when I got involved with the children's theater. And that's not big for my parenting. I got involved to try to find you guys because I wanted, actually, my medical records is what I wanted. But had Alec been a girl, he had a 50-50 chance of having our mom's name, which I'm so grateful he was a boy. I don't know if I would have liked that after the fact, but that's interesting, like that I was drawn to that name. You have an Ethan. Our brother Jimmy has an Ethan. I have a Robert Kenneth. Our sister Tina has a Kenneth and a Robert. He doesn't go by Kenneth, he goes by Bert, but still. Crystal, we have 2 Crystals. Roxanne and Tammy both use that name. When you look at other things that are similar, and not things like our mom, me, and my daughter have a very similar laugh. That's obviously nature, right? But when you think about the nurture and all of us, how different our lives were, there's just interesting dynamics to that. So it's really interesting, but there's so many things that are different variables. So the thing that made me want to talk about this was a couple weeks ago, I was watching Netflix and I came across this documentary, and it was really interesting. Now, if you don't like reading, it's not the documentary for you because a lot of it's subtitles, but it's called The Accidental Twins. It's on Netflix. And it's about these two sets of, if you watch the trailer, I'm not telling you any more than's on there. So I don't feel like I'm ruining it. But one set of twins, so these are they're identical twins, all boys. So one set of twins was born in Bogota. The other set of twins was born not far away in Santander. I think that's how you say it. And what happened is so they were both born about the same time. Now that I think about it, I don't know in that documentary if actual birthdays came up or not. I think so, maybe, but regardless, but there is an incident where one of the sets of twins in the rural environment got sick. The auntie took him to the hospital and the twins got switched. And then,
Interesting.
yeah, it is so interesting. And it's a documentary. So there's professionals talking. And the one lady says, this is the sort of study that scientists dream about because they ended up, it's so interesting to watch. And it's like 50% in English. So just the reading is when these gentlemen are talking and their partners. But somebody saw somebody that looked like somebody, it wasn't him. They ended up, the emotions were very interesting. But when they reconnected the twins to what I'm going to call the correct family, it was interesting how they talked about how the ones that were displaced, they realized that they just felt so different. They knew something was off. They were so different from the twins as well. Like, so if you were my twin, for example, you know, I'm funny and hilarious. Maybe you're boring and very serious.
I'm old.
So when they put the twins back together with the rightful ones, they were so similar. They got each other's jokes. I think two of them were homebodies. Two of them were very sporty and outgoing. So it really made me think about us like as a real case study and all the different dynamics there. I also just want to do a little shout out of another movie I have not watched yet. Have you heard of this one, Tom? It's called The Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
So I think it's a little on the religious side, but
Way to go, Michelle.
I know. So it's 22 families in a church. This is a true story. The location is somewhere in the States called Possum Trot, and 22 families adopted 77 children. And they literally
Crazy.
cleaned out the foster system. And they went and they asked for the most difficult kids in the system and they changed their lives. So fascinating. But after I watched all these things, so I'm waiting to watch that when it comes to a theater near me. I also watched a really interesting, it's not a TED talk, but it was done by a doctor, and he was talking about that when people are studying nature or nurture, it's interesting all the gray areas in there. So it's like it's pretty straightforward for me to say, well, my brown eyes are from nature, right? My nose, I'm sure is, I think from my father. I saw a picture of him. I think from him. Anyways, so those sort of things, yes. But they actually were talking about even things like there's so many variables, even things like your height. Quite often we think, well, he's tall because his father was tall, but somebody else might not be tall. And sometimes they can't figure out why, or sometimes they think, well, it's because of that other person in the family. But it was really interesting. They're also talking about uh, your IQ, and they were saying it's actually a blend of nature and nurture because depending on what your diet is growing up, maybe it stunted your growth a little bit. So I thought, well, that was really interesting. So I can post it. It's not super long if anybody wants to watch it, but they were talking about a heritability scale. So
Yeah.
looking at so many different things on the spectrum, which are part of, is it nature or nurture? Now, before you lost contact with us, if you will, you were talking about our brother Tim. What was he saying to you?
Okay, so hold that thought because I can't write down since I'm driving, but I want to like meander on the topic of meandering,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
So first of all, the the connection, and maybe sometime we share bits and bobs about our story. Maybe we'll share more because I do think Michelle and I've shared this again quite often. Is that every step, good and bad, that you've had in your life has brought you to today.
Yep.
Now, the things that have been hard, the trauma and these things, um, we're created in such an awesome way. We have the ability to overcome loss, right? So I just want to say that. So with all of our siblings, there's similarities, and some we all have the same mom. So we have a genetic connection by mom. That's it, not dads, right? Uh, four of us, same dad, I think. Anyways, whatever it is, right? But so it's interesting when we first time we're all together and we're siblings. Don't forget. So our mom had a different thing. It was as a mom, Michelle, it's a mother thing. I'm not a mother. I don't know. I don't know, right? I'm a father. But the siblings, we had this kind of nervous energy, but we were so excited to be together because we knew we were siblings. So we knew
Right.
genetically we all came from mom, right?
Right.
And then as we were together, we realized some of these components of good and bad humor, um, nervous laughter, all that. But we had some inherent
Yeah.
similarity, right? So here's a couple of funny things that I'll mention about Tim. So here's a few of the funny things. So if you look at what they do with rats, again, I think I shared this here. I'm old, so I share a lot and I forget a lot. Just telling you. But um, they had they did studies on rats in Portugal years and years ago. Did I share that about the drug addiction?
You did
Michelle?
with me, but I don't think with the group. I don't
Yeah.
think with the group.
So what it is, a short version, if I could find the TED talk, who it is, but it's a psychologist. It's not Mate, it's another guy. I can't remember who it is. But basically what they did in Portugal, this is 20 years ago, whenever, they had an issue with addiction and unemployment, poverty, but addiction, mostly Portuguese men, right? So what they did is these scientists were doing nature nurture thing, right? So they had these lab rats that they put in. They put a lab rat by itself, isolated in a cage, and it had a bottle of water, and then had a bottle of water that had some type of chemical drug in it, right? A drug, right? And it had a wheel now, but it was isolated alone. It didn't do anything, and it drank the drugs. It just was. I would say it's bored, but it's just kind of the nurturing component. So what they did is after doing how many tests they did of this, then they introduced these rats that were in this situation in a bigger cage with more rats and like a wheel and of course food, but they had the same two water bottles. And they in the study, none of them drank from the narcotic filled water bottle, right? Which is just
Right.
and so what they did, this is how profound the test was. What they did in Portugal, like I said, I'll try to find some information. So what they realized is that we're isolating, and we know there's mental health and there's a whole bunch of addiction, all that stuff, right? So what they did over the next few years, Portugal invested into street people and people with addiction. They created programs that brought them together but didn't judge them. The
Right.
government put opportunity together, funding small business and education. So I believe they said within 5 or 10 years, I can't remember the number, that say if it was 50% issue of a homeless drug issue on the streets, it went down below 20.
Wow.
So this idea of nurturing. And with us, if you don't nurture yourself and honesty, but don't beat yourself up too hard. Just go, man, I want to be healthy. Like, and so I love those stories. And back to us as siblings, and we probably all have these different things. We've the ones that stayed with mother, and that's a whole again different ball of wax. And is we in a financial way had it was more challenging for us. The ones that were put into foster care or adopted, they ended up having I'm not saying like functional, roof over their head, food in their belly families, right? And who parented you well, right?
You know what is so funny about that is that, and I think, hey, shout out, if you think Tom and I should do a whole show just on our family, I think that would be great. If you're interested in that, feel free to comment. And we have other siblings that who knows if they'd want to be involved for one show or not. But it's so funny because when I was saying about the four of us all having nuclear families, we all of us except for one all have, well, we all have multiple monogamous relationships. You're the one, oldest, probably saw the most, experienced the most, had the one. I'm not saying like I think that Teresa was the first person you ever met in your life. Yeah, father.
I got a halo.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's I think part of that, and watching that movie about the twins being switched, those were aha moments for me where I was like, hey, we're the ones, but we're also the ones that have, and I'm sure we all do to one extent or another, but we all definitely, I think, in my humble opinion, have abandonment syndrome, but we all went from one relationship to another, and not to like call them out. And I know some of the top three, one in particular, tended to have quite a few. But it's interesting when you look at that. So, Rachel, that's our mom. And I'm going to cut back to that in a second as well. She, you know, and I don't know if I don't think she really had any control of the families I went into, and Jimmy anyways, but we went into families that were nuclear families. We both had, homegrown siblings, or that's what I like to call them. So we went into that full family environment, but then at the same time, the struggles that come with that is, do you really feel like you belong? Or like when I was growing up, I remember always being, and this is Michelle, she's adopted. That was like literally part of my name. And then I remember hearing my dad in another room at some point saying, you really need to stop doing that. So I think that's part of, even now, all these years later, as much as they were so good and they provided, and my brothers were great and everything else, I think that just sort of, tweaked me. So we all have our different things. And if I can circle back again, to that, what we expect or what's expected of us. I always found it interesting that of when all us four kids came back, we came back one at a time. It's a very fascinating story. I still think we should share it sometime. No coincidences. But I found it interesting that 3 out of 4 of us, and I would be number 4, every one of them, the other ones, they all put Rachel right back in the mom role, where I just randomly call her mom sometimes now. And it's been maybe within the last 5 years. So I find that really fascinating too. It's just things that make you go, like I don't expect an answer, but you have no idea how hard it is to buy a Mother's Day card for somebody who never met you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and so what's interesting for people listening, right? So first of all, understanding. I mean, me and Michelle are wired this way, and we're different in a way, but we both believe in our journey about our wellness. And so we actually hit on the same point 90% of the time,
Yeah,
but we come out of different experiences, like you said, right? So
yeah,
it's interesting. Couple quick things. So number one, we'll come back to the mom thing in a minute about mom, right?
yeah.
So it's interesting that you you're raised in a certain social dynamic, and I do a lot of counseling with guys, older guys actually seem to be more, who have no emotions mostly, and they were raised by their mom, and they weren't raised, I'm talking about 70, 80-year-old men, right? And they
Right.
were raised, the father, it was just, this was the culture. The father worked, um, and so this is like more, this isn't rural or like country, this is like city, right? And
Yeah,
so the father would work, the mother would stay home, take care of the kids. Father maybe was involved disciplinary, but the father, like, this goes to my father, biological father, and then to grandparents, right? It's,
right.
there would be the odd component where there'd be kind of more of a nurturing relationship, but this whole idea of abandonment, like you mentioned, um, things that make us lose our identity. We need to talk on identity theft. I think that would be really good, and may take more
Mm.
than one time.
Yeah,
But it's interesting to think about how, like, not to blow our brains out, like to go
no,
crazy,
no,
but
sorry.
why do we respond in a certain way? Why? So for those of us that had trauma as a child, and I've shared this here before, I was sexually abused as a child, by a friend of the family. Biological father, like you with mom, biological father who was in my life for the early part, but he's passed away now, but he was alcoholic, and he was a very, very violent man, very, very violent. And so I in the same way don't have this. He like you with mom. He donated
No,
DNA, right? And
right,
that doesn't mean mean. Our mom's nicer, by the way. But it's interesting because this whole idea of identity, especially when you look at, and you don't have to. You can be in a in a a normal family, in the sense of, you know two kids, two parents, boy, girl, and
sure,
all of a sudden the boy feels connected to the family, and for whatever reasons, nature, some of it, the girl feels left out, right? The
right.
oldest child to the youngest child, as an oldest child and raised in our context, I was the first one that had to do dishes and clean and all that. You know, my kid brother and kid sister did, Tim and Tammy. They they did dishes crappy, and they did a horrible job. So guess who got stuck doing all the chores?
Mm,
Me, right? Who was the one that you figured out discipline, and so all of these little nature, nurturing to our nature, right? So this affirmational, um, component in us, and we all have it. And people, guys are worse, by the way, and I do counsel a couple of women, but guys are worse, because they guys just half the time live in denial,
right.
and I don't try to fix them in a day. I got a guy, it's been a year now, and he's finally kind of letting his guard down. I said, like, you want another 10 years of this, just keep doing it, right?
Right.
But
That's right.
for me, I knew, and so as a child, I didn't know, I wouldn't have the words, or the the ideology to think about this, but I was missing. I had a mom who loved me, which I knew that, even though we were all like put in home, like all that. I knew my mom loved me, not because she tried her best, but not that she was functional. She had been through, her story's nuts,
That's
right?
right.
So if you think of all of our families, you can be in a, the American Pie, in the States, home, picket fence, blah, blah, blah. And something can, a pebble can trigger you. And now, even though nature, the way you're biologically made is normal, whatever you want to call it, then something I watch a lot of times, like, not serial killers, but I like these crime and these different things.
Love
It's
it.
so interesting how you have somebody that seems so normal, then all of a sudden
Yep.
there's a little shift, and there's just a little bit, 2%, 1%, but in time it spreads, right?
That's right.
So, and it's idea. So our identity. So for me, I never felt my biological father denied that I was his, but whatever. Right? So I didn't know how to deal with that as a child. So being in my 60s, when I got, and we were poor that, so when I got into my early teens, um, I had access to, I play guitar now. So I played in a house band for the Hells Angels in Scarborough. And so they felt sorry for me. They liked me and they gave me some dope to sell so I can get like jeans without holes in type of stuff, right? So all of a sudden I had this thing where I had this identity. The only thing I felt good about was music. But and I was an honest, like I was good, even though I was did drugs and that, like I was crazy, but I wasn't violent that, but I was imploding. My
That's
I didn't
right.
know how to deal with pain and trauma, so I medicated. That's kind of what happens in the world. That's what happens with food, by the way. We
Right.
medicate.
Absolutely.
So the interesting thing, rat study, family dynamics, all these things, part of what it is, and what Michele does with one of her jobs with WW is how do we help ourselves or help people shift, reset, one of my words, right? Um, it takes time. It takes different components. The most important thing, you gotta get rid of the negative crap. And
That's
even and it's not denial. If you're having a crappy day right now, anybody listening, I had a horrible day, horrible. Now I could have ate here. You can laugh at me. This is a bag of popcorn. So
okay.
my I don't call it cheap. My little thing at night, if I want, is popcorn, right? So
Good.
it's better than chips and pop and all that, right? But
Right.
I don't I don't go off the deep end. It was a horrible day for me. It was terrible. So driving around now was great. It was chill, wasn't stupid
Yes.
traffic. Going to the park I was great with you guys. So this thing here doesn't suck my soul. It gives me life. So we have to find ways, and this is nurturing.
Yep.
We need, by the way, put me in it. We need to figure out. We need to look in the window or the mirror and be able to go. You know what? See a reflection. Don't beat yourself up, but just go. Okay, this is where I'm at now. If it's physical or mentally or emotionally, and then we need to look at that and go. Okay, I don't want to be here in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, and sometimes it takes time.
Yep.
What can I do about it today? One step.
Well,
And one of the biggest thing, Michele, you tell me if I'm wrong and throw your thoughts in there. Number one, you don't do it alone. If you try to do it alone, that's where the enemy, have 90% times yourself,
yep.
will sabotage you. You need to find people who you trust
Yep.
that will speak life into you and encourage you. That's why Michele's a wellness coach and I counsel, right?
I totally agree.
You, if you, I hate stupid sayings, but they're funny. Be the change you want to be and all that. I understand all that, right? Again, I'm going to put a plug in. Me, Michele, do stuff. I'm going to challenge you if you're listening to this or whatever later, if it's live or whatever. Watch, please watch. I'll buy you coffee and bring it out to you with Bailey's next time I'm out. We're going to do a live with me and you out there one time, Michele, next couple of
Love
years.
that. Yep.
Watch Peanut Butter Falcon. So I'm gonna share something generally. So please take it generally. It's a movie about a Down syndrome boy. I've had the privilege, and it makes me emotional. I had the privilege of having in different settings of working with um, people with Down syndrome. We used to do a music club here, and we had one guy, Trevor, who wanted to help. And I'm telling you, outside of sometimes being frustrated, in this simplistic way, they were the kindness. They were there's just something beautiful. You know what they did that? They simplified it. I mean, they had to because of the way they were wired, right?
Right.
The kindest people. You see, I remember seeing somebody fall on the street, and this kid who swept the streets and where I live just for volunteering with whatever they did, um, first went over, dropped his broom and his little vest, first
Yep.
went over to go care, like, and you could see it. It wasn't BS. He's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And it
Love
made
it.
me like tear up.
Yep.
So, so even though me and Michele are pretty smart, most of us here are probably pretty smart. But here's the thing. My last two bits, and Michelle can share the video or whatever, how we want to end this. But
Yep.
here's what I was going to say. If you're content with where you're at, um, that's okay. One of our sisters here is Wendy on, Michelle?
I don't think so.
Okay. So one of our sisters is my stepsister. So I don't know how it connects with Michelle. So it's my stepdad's daughter, right? So when I was teenager and whatever, we were raised with my sister Wendy, Kim, and Chris, and so every second weekend they stayed with us for the weekend because their dad George was their dad, right? So me and my sister Wendy have, and then after became 18, whatever, left, traveled to the States, all whatever. I left, right, the city. But me and my sister Wendy have some very similar kind of personality traits.
Right.
Now, no biological connection,
Right.
but and not that we were nurtured in the same way by my stepdad or mom, right? But it's interesting to me, and I think this is nature. When you've met Wendy a few times, right? So Wendy has gone. I'm not sure too much, else she'll kill me. Maybe she has worked through some pretty hard relationship stuff and just tough stuff to where she's at now. She's really successful. She's happy. She's got a husband. They do their stuff and they're able to enjoy their life. She works hard, right? And when her and I get together, like you and me are very similar too. Like not taken away from our other siblings.
No.
You and me are very similar, as we're finding out here. And me and Wendy are very similar. So we get together and I could spend the night there or a weekend. And all of a sudden, like we don't skip a beat.
Right. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So this idea of in here, we all know that, the good and bad of this, by the way, we will draw or will be drawn to people that are like-minded. So think of
That's right.
political things like that. You think of religious, or you think of whatever relationship, right?
Yeah.
So the good and bad of that, if you've got good, healthy people around you, awesome. If you are, Michelle said this gently, and I'm going to say this in code, but Michelle will get it. You guys will get it. We have a sibling that had many relationships, in a great relationship right now, but she kept attracting the same type of person.
Right.
And she was a rescuer, and she kept attracting alcoholics.
Right.
So there is something through her in life experience, nurture, whatever you want to call it, but there's something, I believe, in her DNA that is a help or a rescuer, right? So how do you, if you're a compassionate person, which I think most of us are here, how do we be genuinely who we are, authentic, but then how do we, none of us gonna be perfect, we're all gonna have good, bad, whatever, but how do we move forward being healthy? Because there's some things that we'll have that through trauma or experience or whatever, like Michelle and I said, we had a part of our lives that we didn't have the normality of influence of a biological parent, right?
Right.
And it affects us both.
Right. All of us. That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Michelle said abandonment. So you can feel abandoned or looked over or not valued, like this is why I do what I do on the side, right? That you can feel that, like you can be in the most American Pie family, like I said, and you can feel so
lonely, right?
like unnoticed. Not that you're wanting attention like in a bad way, but there's something, and they're saying more and more. There's some of that is there's some of that is part of the chromosome. Like again, we're learning more and more. So how do we find healthy balance? Well, first of all, we experience healthy balance like this. We talk.
Right.
Talk. But anyways, finish up, and then you have a video you're going to show about happiness or pom-poms or something.
I do. So great chat today. I do appreciate, and Tom, I'm going to take a moment to tell you how much I appreciate spending the last 6 months. Life is good. Smile every day. I love it. So us spending the last 6 months together and me having the opportunity to really get to know you. So I find that super special. I just wanted to share that with you.
And I
So-
love you too. This has been so good.
It's so good, right? I know. I love you so much. I was actually chatting with our sister Tina yesterday, and I was saying the same thing, that it's just been so good to connect with you. So I just want you to know how special that is. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I want to not be so heavy, 1,000 different levels, but I want to go into a video that it just takes the seriousness out a little bit. And it's going to talk about the importance of having fun. So, as we all know, sometimes you need to schedule fun because life is so serious. So, it's not very long. We're going to end on this positive, fun note. I think we're all going to enjoy it. And then we'll let you go and we will regroup with you next week. So hold on a second. And I have to get rid of our faces. Bear with me here.
So as you're doing that, I'll tell you a quick joke. So where you're setting it up,
Yep.
what did the one mushroom say to the sad mushroom?
I don't know.
You used to be such a fun guy.
And there you go.
Hashtag fun guy.
Hashtag fun guy. Okay, so hold on a second here. Oh, I'm completely sidetracked. Bear with me. Hold on, technical issues. And here we go. And oh, here we go. You're up in the corner. How did that happen? Oh my goodness. All right, so bear with me here. Good thing I don't do this for a living. Dun, dun, dun. Can you sing like some background music or something while I'm getting this all straight?
Okay, shout, let it all out. No.
Okay, hold on. We're going in. There we go.
Sweet.
Oh, did I share the audio? That's the real question. Hold on a second. Oh, my word. There we go. We're going to do it right this time. I did. Perfect. And
people in the city were too busy to take a moment for themselves. So I went downtown with a group of friends and we built a giant ball pit. And I asked people this question: are you too busy to have fun?
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Are you busy?
I've got a meeting.
How busy? Are you too busy to have fun for just like a couple minutes? Yo, what's up, man? Are you busy right now? Are you busy right now?
I have to get back to work.
We got a ball pit here. We just want to see if people are too busy to have fun.
A ball pit?
Yeah. You want to jump in?
Do you have 5 minutes? Can I get you in 10 minutes? All right, cool. All right, thanks.
You're in?
I'll do it.
Let's have fun.
I'll do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm coming in. I'm coming in, baby. Woo! 3. Yo, what's up? We're downtown.
I don't even know what to say.
When was the last time you just took a break to have fun?
It's been a while.
Really? Dan, what do you do?
I'm an accountant.
Pretty stressful?
Yeah, pretty stressful.
Why do you think some people are afraid of having fun?
What you listen to do anymore? They have their little world they want to live in, and they just do their deal.
In the last year alone, I've heard of 4 attorneys during their lunch breaks who just drop dead. I mean, that's serious stuff. And that's why I don't take lunch breaks.
I really needed this, buddy. Thank you so much. No problem.
All right. Have a great day, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Life's too short not to have fun.
Love it. You know, the best part of that, Michelle, is I share cat videos. I don't know, my daughter, my wife, and I think my granddaughter, a couple other people I know, almost every morning. And I share stupid jokes on Facebook, by the way. But you know what? I know it makes everybody smile.
Right.
And you know how many muscles it takes to smile? I don't know. I'm just asking you.
Not as many as it takes to frown, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's something. Start your day with a ball pit when you're showing that. I just love that. I hadn't seen that before. I've seen similar stuff, but not like that. So I love that.
Yeah.
Start your day on a high, and like I don't know if you probably feel the same thing. Start your day. I talked about resetting and quieting, which is really good.
Mhm.
Start your day before you break open Excel spreadsheets or even the kids. If you got kids and like life is like just chaos until they're all sleeping, get up a half an hour earlier to have you time. But
Yeah,
find something that makes you smile and laugh. Start your day that way.
I
Right?
agree. Absolutely. So everybody, thank you so much for coming. We do appreciate you. We're going to be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and know that you have support here. So it doesn't just have to be every Wednesday. We're very reachable. You can post on the page, but we want you to realize you're an essential part of our team and we're
Yep.
here to support you. So much love coming your way, and we will do it again next week.
Bye, everybody.